Hello, good evening, SM viewers. This is Satellite Media. If you are new to this channel, kindly like, share, subscribe, and please do not forget to hit the notification bell. Let us look at this contentious issue, talking about the Anioma people from Delta State. The Anioma in Delta State comprise of 9 local governments. Of course, this is the Igbo-speaking part of Delta State. I've seen many people come out to make some conflicting statements, but the point here is, if you are from Anioma, you are from Igbo origin. That is the truth. And one thing I've seen from Igbo as a people in Nigeria, if you give a position, federal appointment, to somebody from the south part of the country, like Delta North, the Igbo man automatically sees the person at the appointment as his brother. I could remember when Emefiele was given the CBN governor, there was no contention from any southeastern part of the country. Talking about the 5 states from the eastern part of the country. They immediately saw it as one of their own. And again, somebody was asking the other day if the country were to divide. That is eventually when Biafra comes, where will Delta North go to? Personally, I'm from Agbor, and I told the person very clear that you expect an Agbor man to go with Oduduwa or to go with Arewa. It is very clear they can only go with their brothers, the Igbos. There's no argument about that. Because by providence, you can clearly see the people from Delta North, their language is similar to what is being what they speak in the other 5 states of the eastern part of the country. And I even want to have because, for instance, in southwestern part of the country here, my younger brother who stays in southwestern part of the country currently is even the chairman of Ahaneze Igbo in his area of jurisdiction. And when they did the election, they knew everybody, both the people from Anambra, from Imo State, from Enugu, from Ebonyi, who stays in the environment, knew that he's from Agbor. And they agreed to elect him as the chairman in his jurisdiction. So you see that acceptability is very clear, that the average man from the 5 other states in the southeastern part of the country do not discriminate in any way when it comes to their brothers in the other divide. And again, even when Jonathan was the president of the country, we saw the overwhelming support the Igbos gave him. They saw him as one of their own. The support was overwhelming to the point that even a Jonathan could not believe the level of support he got. So I think this point should be very clear, because we understand that no matter how long it takes, at a point, Nigerians must go their separate ways. And I keep saying it, that there's nothing wrong in self-determination, because self-determination is a UN charter that has been ratified in Nigeria. To that extent, it's already a law in Nigerian legal jurisprudence. So, and what Mazen Nandikalu is asking for is very clear. It comes from that angle of self-determination. And again, I keep saying it, that by providence, God created Nigerians differently, because there is a natural unifying factor, talking about language. That is why by providence, God gave the Hausas their different language. God equally gave the Yorubas their different language and gave Igbos their different language. The same thing is applicable to other ethnic minorities in Nigeria. It was the British that came here and did serious injustice to humanity by bringing everybody on board, even without their consent. Because even if you wanted to bring people on board as we have it, you needed to see their consent. That is why things are not working. And you can understand that even at Aburi, when they decided to go for Aburi, it was to have people go their separate ways in terms of restructuring, in terms of regional government, so that nobody will be lording it over each other. And unfortunately, Igbo mess up the opportunity to have that happen. And currently, those issues, those problems that Aburi Accord sought to resolve is still here with us. For instance, Nigerians are still yearning for restructuring today. Nigerians are still yearning for state police. And these things were already contained in the Aburi Accord. But the government did not allow it to happen. And as it stands, it doesn't matter the number of years it takes. If people are not comfortable with the system, they will continue to agitate. We are seeing what the Fulani henchmen, or rather Fulani military, have been doing across board in the country. We saw what is happening. We saw what happened in Bokos and Bassa local government areas of Plateau State. Of course, at the time, the governor of Plateau State, Mufwang, made it very clear that this is purely genocidal invasion by Fulani militias. And as if he was speaking the mind of the tour of thief when a Tinubu visited Benue State in the wake of the killing of about 250 persons by Fulani militias. The monarch, while addressing Tinubu, made it very clear that what happened, contrary to the impression and opinion of the security agencies and even president himself, that what happened in Benue State is purely genocidal in nature. That it has nothing to do with Fulani herders clashes. That it has nothing to do with Fulani host community clashes. It has nothing to do with reprisal attack. That it was purely a genocide carefully orchestrated by the Fulanis. Now the question is, I have a video to tell you that the West, or rather the UK, the British government, did serious injustice to mankind in this part of the world. I will play that video for you to see how they even rigged the first election in Nigeria in favor of the North against the South. I'll play that video for you to watch now. Thereafter, we'll come back to further this conversation.
The British government rigged the first and most important election in the history of Nigeria in 1959 in favor of the North. Am I correct?
Yes.
How long were you in Nigeria for?
From 1955 to 1960. I was a Labour officer, a senior civil servant.
Okay.
I only intended to stay in Lagos initially for 2 tours of duty. Although, because of this conflict with the elections, there were difficulties. Actually, government wouldn't let me leave the civil service. They were determined that I should stay in the civil service after my 2 tours. And I was offered very considerable incentives, including a knighthood, to stay and work for government. Primarily this was because I had access to state secrets. I learned, and the Governor-General himself confirmed this to me, that the elections were rigged, contrived. The intention was that the North should rule Nigeria. Even in '56, the Northern leaders were very proud and were saying, if they couldn't run Nigeria, never mind elections. They might not join Nigeria, they might leave. And we all thought, well, how would they survive? There were no industries, there's not a great deal of agriculture, some groundnuts in the north. This wasn't very practical at all. And then it was, the Governor-General seemed to be thinking that the North couldn't, even if it won an election, rule Nigeria by itself. The South wouldn't stand for that. So there had to be a partner, either the Igbos in the east or the Yoruba in the west, to team up with the North. What he didn't want was for the 2 southern parties, the Igbo and the Yoruba, to team up to form the government, because he believed the North wouldn't tolerate that and talked about leaving the Federation. So as I learned, in a small way at first, but very rapidly I learned about the election fixing. And as I say, this was confirmed to me by the Governor-General. He actually said that he wanted me to know the truth because he wanted me to know how much trouble I was in.
You mentioned statistics. You were collecting figures. Is that for labor and unemployed people only, or general?
Primarily, but obviously my interest was in the population
Of Nigeria.
Yes, and Awolowo, the Yoruba leader of the action group,
Yep.
and Chief Enaharo, they too, other people were saying, where are all these millions of people in the north? Where are they? We're going up there to campaign. We want to know, And you see all these, thousands of miles of not very developed countryside, and the Northerners are claiming that their voting registration figures are larger than in the South, larger, far more people up there. Well, actually, if you went through the Igbo land, Enugu and that, you saw lots and lots of people. If you went to Ibadan, again, Ibadan teeming, with millions of people. But we didn't actually see many Northerners, and obviously not many Northerners at that time came to Lagos. So this did arouse suspicion. Now,
what does this mean for Africa's most populous nation? If the foundation of Nigeria's democracy was deliberately corrupted, can we still call what followed a legitimate system? Have we been building a nation on a lie told before we ever had the chance to speak for ourselves? Smith's confession goes further. He claims the election was rigged specifically to favor the North, not out of justice or merit, but out of strategic colonial design. The idea wasn't to create balance, it was to preserve control. By propping up one region, the British ensured dependency, division, and internal conflict.
they did do a deal with Zik, Dr. Azikiwe,
Okay.
from the East. Dr. Azikiwe, there was this big problem in Nigeria. It's the same big problem in America and in Britain. How do you get funds to fight elections? The candidates in Nigeria had no money, but they did have marketing boards, which were a kind of semi-nationalized industry. And they borrowed money from the marketing boards. But there was a suspicion that Dr. Azikiwe, who had formed his own bank, the African Continental Bank, was actually bankrupt. But he was borrowing very large sums of money from the marketing boards and not necessarily repaying the loans. We knew this. We had a great secret service. All the politicians' phones were tapped. All the politicians' mail was opened. Everything that any major politician did in Nigeria, we knew in hours. We watched. We knew all that was going on.
Are you saying, in essence, that Dr. Azikiwe took money?
He was blackmailed by the British to do our bidding. We told Dr. Azikiwe that he could go to prison if an inquiry was carried out into his bank and his financial circumstances. However, we would not want to be vindictive if Dr. Azikiwe was cooperative in helping forward the plans that we had made in the best interests of Nigeria. Dr. Azikiwe had nothing in common with the northern politicians. He loathed the northern politicians. But Dr. Azikiwe went north and did as he was told. And what he was promised was this. The real power, effective power, would be in the hands of the northern emirs. However, it would look great if the president was Dr. Azikiwe and he was given a field marshal's uniform and an admiral's uniform. He asked, please, could he have a row of medals? But they said, well, no, that was a bit difficult, to get the medals. So when the ambassadors started arriving, he was known to be asking people from foreign countries, perhaps they had a medal for his uniform. We thought this was terrible, but it was said that this happened. He was very vain. And for a time, he functioned as first the Governor General, and then when Nigeria became a republic, as the president. But he had no power. And when he did try to tell the army, he said, I'm the field marshal, the army has got to do with this. They said, hey, you're just a ceremonial figure. You have no power. The Prime Minister, Balewa, gives us our orders. So there was a feeling then that there was going to be trouble. And then it was because the Awolowo and the Action Group had become the official opposition. What we British wondered, how could they win another election without the British counting the votes? There could not be another proper run election without us there. We knew what we were doing. We were just helping things along. We were doing what the British do, favouring our friends and looking after our own and repaying favours. We don't call that.
So having watched this video, you can understand that the British government never meant well for different components of the country, because the same way they talk of equity, fairness, and justice in their jurisdiction, in their claim, I don't think that is what transpired in the election in Nigeria. So you can clearly see that the origin and the root of rigging the election was handed over to Nigerians by the colonial masters. And when people talk about secession, it's because things are not working. And the condition we operate currently is not people's oriented. It was forced on Nigerians by the military. And every effort for the people to have a people's oriented constitution has always been resisted by those who benefit from the current fraudulent status quo. So you begin to wonder, who are we going as a people? So for me, I think the current people in government should summon the courage to restructure the country. If that is the best they can do. If they will not accept this integration, I think they should summon the courage to restructure the country. Because currently, I even have a video where you can clearly see a man of God talking about what he saw in terms of the calamity that will come in form of killing of people by Fulani men that will eventually come through Enugu, snowball into Anambra, into Abia, and spill over into Delta. Let me equally play that video for you to have a sense of what we are discussing here.
Are you getting what I'm saying? Boundary between Enugu and Kogi. In the area of Kogi, there are bandits. If you go now, you catch them. There are terrorists in the Kogi edge by the right side. The Lord showed me a digging hole where they are inside a hole where they dug. Inside there is only two people come out for water to drink because they don't bath. And what they buy, they are there. Can I tell you, there are many different positions in the right side of the boundary. They are waiting to move a target. Are you understanding what I'm saying? So at that bridge, they are coming out. When they cross that boundary, they will enter inside Enugu. Pray indoor and come out physically to defend. Listen, let me tell you, people have died. I have to pray and say, God, show me deep. God, show me deep. These holes were big holes, but not physical, where you will see them. They are done like the one, Every time animal wants to dig, it digs from a cover under. So even when you pass, they use tree and cover it. You never know. That is a hole where people live. And they were in different places. Maybe you could call it tunnel. I grieve. I say, God, what is this? He said, tell them. They are close to Enugu State. And the week they are planning to come out, a certain bus, luxurious bus, there is no seat in that bus. That bus is covered with what? Iron. The only person you will see is the driver. And there are only animals, maybe like 10, inside that place. While they were moving, there is a school, primary school, that is close to the border. Not that close, but somehow close. They went there in that school. They picked all the primary students, pre-nursery. Primary students, they pick all of them. Children who pick all. And put inside that place where they kept cow. So cows are the ones shouting, "Ooh," while little children are down below the cow. That was what they used in passing the road, going back. After that one, it didn't end. Another set of truck came while they were hiding in uncompleted building and trees in Enugu. They struck another school. They struck another school. Don't be praying outside, pray inside. Come out and defend your state. Are you getting what I'm saying? Let's keep this Biafra thing. Hey, you'll just be shouting Biafra, Biafra. No, don't just shout it. Come out and defend it. The reason for prophecy is for protection, guidance. Don't say on social media, what is this one saying? What is this one saying? No. It will clear your eye. He said, Lord, have mercy. No, he has given you mercy. Go and look for what is good and carry you and defend your state. They carry this primary student, carry a secondary school student, carry mama and papa. If you love your spouse, they will keep a phone call. How much? Hey, bring them for 1 million. Bring them for 2 million. Bring them for 3 million. And those little children will be trained to be the next terrorists. Take this advice. Come out and protect your state. Don't stay there and be shouting on social media. Hey, we mount. Shh, keep quiet. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Don't be shouting Biafra, Biafra. Don't shout it. Come out and say you are Biafra. Protect your land. And don't think it's going to end in Enugu. Why they will stay there for 7 days terrorizing Enugu State? A new set will come. Already the old set will protect them by surrounding the movement. This new set is what we move to Anambra State. It will move to Anambra State. Then the old people who came first to Enugu State will now move to Abia State. Because I told God, God, show me their angle. And they move. They don't move by road. They move by bush. They move by night. While you are, the Bible said when men slept. That's how they will move to Abia State. That's how they will move to Anambra State. That's how they will move to Abakaliki. If I tell you what I saw about Abakaliki before Ebonyi State, tell somebody chai. If I tell you what I saw in Ebonyi State, you will tell me I'm a liar until it will happen. Anambra that is doing, I saw massacre. This Benue is small, southeast. Thank you. Benue what is small. That's how they will terrorize the southeast. From Enugu, they move from Enugu, they move to Anambra, move to Abia State, move to Ebonyi. They keep moving. Guess what happened? Delta State. Pray, oh. This is not the time to come on social media and talk. Pray. People say, don't talk about Nigeria. Go and talk about your country. I'm talking about my country. Pray, oh. Pray. Vigilantes should come up. Pray. The kind of weapon I see from these terrorists, Nigeria army does not have it. Let me show you something. There's nothing to use an example. I want to show you how I saw. Not the gun, but the bullet. Just assume this. This is how the bullet looks like. That's what they use in shooting people. Not half like this, but as big as this that I'm using. That's how the bullet is. Look at it. That's what they use in shooting people in their houses. Shooting your officers. Walls can't hold this bullet like this. These were the bullet as big as it is. That was what they use in shooting human, not car. So when you see them, you will see the bullet will open their body. They are well trained, organized, planned. Your Nigerian securities are not planned. Let's raise vigilantes.